Hi, my name is Kate Mielitz. I am Kaden's mom from Raising Tourettes. Kaden and Slaeda do videos regarding their experiences with Tourette syndrome, and I started thinking about it and I said, you know, as an adult with Tourette syndrome, it might be beneficial if I share some of my experiences, but even more so, I wanted to talk to parents about what it's like to parent a child with Tourette's, seeing as I've been doing it for almost 13 years now in total, because Kaden will be 13 in June, and because I've lived there. And so I know what it's like to be in the body, and I know what it's like to have frustrations and have questions, and I find that it's very, very important to know that we as the caregivers for people who have neurological challenges or who are not neurotypical or who may have anxiety and depression and ADHD diagnoses along with the Tourette's, sometimes it just really helps, I think, to know that we are not alone, and I want to let you know that you are not alone. Kaden says that in every video when he's talking to the people with Tourette's. Typically his target market is youth, but I want to let you know, as caregivers, as parents, as mothers, as fathers, grandparents, aunt, uncles, etc., you are not alone. And this can be a very scary diagnosis sometimes to live with and to understand and to help our kids work through, because there is a lot of doubt from people who are not afflicted with Tourette's, who have not experienced Tourette's. There's a lot of doubt regarding whether or not it's real, or you know, hey, they're just faking it. And I want to let you know that I have been subject to, no, that's not real. Yes, that person is faking it, and it is frustrating. So I'm going to do a handful of videos just talking about it from my perspective, in hopes that this will provide benefit to you as an adult, either with Tourette's or as an adult caregiver for a child with Tourette's. And so I thought tonight that I would give a little background information and share some of my experiences so that you have it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So I was diagnosed almost 20 years ago when I was in my early 20s. And I am a working professional. I have my PhD in personal financial planning. And I got to tell you what, that matters very little in the grand scheme of things, but the reason that I mention it is because I don't want you ever to think that your child can't do it. I don't want you to have that fear, because sometimes it's just like, oh my God, is my kid gonna make it through this day? Never mind this grade, never mind through college. And Tourette's can be a challenge, but PhD is possible. And I'm one of a handful of people that I've met, at least via social media, that has Tourette's, that has a PhD. So your kids can do it, you can do it. And there are absolutely times and cross-diagnoses that tend to make things more challenging. I like to tell my friends and my coworkers I have highly probable but currently undiagnosed ADHD. And that, or the OCD sometimes that I experience, and the Tourette's definitely impact the way that I go about my work, and have very much impacted the way that I went and got through school, sometimes very much to my benefit and sometimes to my detriment. And so as you're watching your kids and you're thinking about, oh my gosh, are we going to get through this? You are going to get through it, I promise. Your kids are going to get through it. There are going to be some really, really ugly days. And then there are going to be some really, really epic days, and you're just like, why did I have any doubts? Because you're human. Because what we don't know is extremely scary, and there's still a lot that we don't know about Tourette's. I have been in the workforce since I was in high school, but the fact of the matter was my tics did not it did not get in the way of my family doing anything or me doing anything. And when I would perform, my tics were gone. Nobody would notice them. And like I said, I wasn't diagnosed until I was in my 20s, and it was really funny. I remember going to dinner with a girlfriend of mine when I was home from college after my diagnosis, and she's like, oh my gosh, I was wondering about that, but I didn't want to say anything. And on one hand, I was like, well, you should have just said something. Maybe that would have prompted a question, but at the same time, I'm really glad that she didn't, because this was back in the 90s, and there was, in my opinion, very much more a stigma associated with Tourette's and what that was and how that could be viewed, and it didn't get in my way. And so I guess in retrospect, I'm glad that she didn't ask. But that said, it's okay to say to somebody, oh, do you have Tourette's? Or I noticed you've got this tic. Is that something that you've had for a long time? Some people absolutely don't like attention being brought to some of these things. But as I found it, at least with my kids and at least in my situation, we would much rather be asked and have it out in the open than for somebody to be, oh my God, did you see that? Or, oh my gosh, I can't believe that bringing it up and living out loud and being who you are and encouraging your children to embrace their tics and everything that comes with Tourette's can be challenging, but is so, so worth it. Tourette's has helped make me, in large part, who I am today. And I am not disappointed that I have it. I'm not disappointed that my kids have it. It is what it is. There's absolutely nothing I can do to control it. So let's just embrace it and accept it. But I'm 42 years old. I've had a lot of time to come to terms with that. I've had a lot of very positive experiences when I was growing up in terms of parental support just for life in general. And so I'm able to come at this with a really solid background, and so it's easier for me in many cases to say that than it is to do it. But at the same time, there are situations in which I have doubts and I have frustrations, but I very, very much feel that embracing it, living out loud, and just loving who we are with the Tourette's and loving the kids even through some of those tics where it's just like, oh my God, if you do that again. Because I have been there. Maybe you are a better parent than I am, and yay if you are, because I've had some moments where I'm just like, enough. But I've also had some tics where my husband Slade has been particularly patient, but I know that I've driven some of my coworkers and some of my friends a little batty. So, but it's all about perspective. It's about embracing who we are and loving who we are and teaching our kids to love who they are the way that they're made. And you can't change the size of your toes. You can't change how your elbows bend. You can change the color of your hair, which clearly I need to do a little bit, but you can't change the color of your eyes, at least long term. Forget contacts. So why worry about changing things that we can't do anything about? I'm here to say, let's embrace who we are and let's help our kids figure out how to do that as well. So this has been a pretty long video, kind of going from here and there and everywhere. I definitely will be back with some more information and some more thoughts, and I will absolutely confess some things that have driven me insane, and share some of my challenges with parenting children with Tourette's and some of my experiences just living with it myself. Thanks so much. If you've got any questions or comments or anything you'd like me to do a video on, please do not hesitate to let me know. Thanks so much.